Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Masks Off. I'm Kim,
And I'm Tia.
and we're so happy to be here today with you. And I'm so happy to say that I am feeling better. So I
Yay.
actually have been able to wanted to put on earrings today. I haven't
Aw.
wanted to even get dressed in 23 days. So that's a huge. And so we're going to talk about today and we have been talking about, right, in the past. We've talked about it many times, but it's just such an important topic and issue to just keep going deeper and deeper with it. So that's what we're doing here today, to talk about when we have disappointments, challenges, life just throws a curveball at you. What do you do? How do you
Yep.
respond? So today's quote is by Thich Nhat Hanh, and he says, fear keeps us focused on the past or worried about the future. If we can acknowledge our fear, we can realize that right now we are okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm repeating myself when I say, and I have shared it multiple times, it was one of the most important, and it deserves being repeated. So I'll say it again because it was one of the most important things and useful things that I did during having COVID, is to just say, right now, I'm okay. I kept saying that. Like, I would check my vitals.
Yeah.
My heart rate's okay right now. My blood pressure's okay. My oxygen level's okay. I'm breathing. I'm standing. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Every time that I started to visualize me being in the hospital and on a respirator and my poor
Yep.
kids having to live without me, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not a lie that I went there, because there were moments where, you don't know. That's the thing.
Right.
That's the lesson, right? You don't know.
Right.
If there's Coronavirus has taught us so much. But one of the things is that even when you have the virus, you have absolutely no idea which course the virus is going to take.
Mm-hmm.
I got coronavirus. My whole family did not. Your daughter,
Yep.
you did not, right?
Did not got retested again yesterday, but the last test for my other daughter was earlier this week and she was negative and she's getting retested today. So far,
Right?
negative.
So far.
And
And
it's
I lived,
been 3 weeks now. I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
While I was most likely, I know I had to have been positive and contagious,
Right.
was literally in a car with my kids driving for 2 hours. Because at this point, I didn't know that I
Mhm.
had it.
Yeah. No mask, no nothing.
No
Right.
masks and
Tight
breathing the
space.
same in a tight space. And they did not get it. And then
Yeah.
some people get the virus and have no symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
Literally yesterday when I was at the clinic, I was next to an older gentleman, because again, I was telling you, you could hear everything. And I heard him saying that he was old enough to be in like an assisted living place because he got COVID while being in the place. He was in the hospital for 10 days,
Wow.
probably more for like his heart, because he was there in the heart clinic. He said, yeah, my worst symptom was I had a stuffy nose. And he probably, I'm guessing he may have been like in his 70s. He was definitely an elderly man with underlying conditions. His worst symptom was a stuffy nose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying all this long-winded to say you absolutely do not know which way the virus is going to go. And
Right.
that's life, though, because we don't know even in the next moment what's going to happen. We truly don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So fear keeps us focused or worried
Right.
on the future because we can't control it. And we want to control, we want to know. Our
Mm-hmm.
brains are wired
Right.
to be able to make sense of things and to have that control. And when we
Exactly.
don't,
We
no,
manufacture it.
yes,
We try to make it so,
yeah,
even though we don't know. So I have a question for you.
okay.
Or it may, I mean, I have my own thought process behind it and feeling. So I have my own answer, but I'd love your answer because I'm would imagine there are people who may be listening and after hearing that quote, past, future, but right now I'm okay. But sometimes right now we're not okay. Like let's say someone has corona or anything and they're having a cardiac arrest, or they're not okay in that moment, like physically not okay, not the brain taking over, but physically having a stroke, having something that we classify as not okay. So what's your response to that? Because people could be listening and be like, yeah, well, right now I have no money coming in. I can't feed my children. I'm going to be evicted. Life is not okay. In the mind, right? And that's real and that's tangible. And it doesn't feel okay because that's not something we want to experience. So what's your response to that? So that's why I want to just
it's a great question. And I can draw upon both this experience now of having coronavirus, because there were moments when I really wasn't okay. I just shared with you before we started recording, because one of the symptoms I'm still dealing with is this syncope vasovagal response. So especially when you're in the shower and all your blood vessels open up, you're more likely to have that whole feeling of I'm going to pass out, your blood pressure dropping. So twice I thought I was going to go down in the shower this morning, and down meaning like pass out. So in that moment, I really wasn't really maybe okay. So so what did I do? I just still like, okay, I think I just stayed with it in the moment. I just held onto the walls of the shower, just focused on my breath and just kept breathing and just staying with it until it did pass. Now that's just a little simple example. A bigger example was my mom, right? When my mom was on a respirator for 9 days and did die, she wasn't okay. It was not a good situation. Well, good situation, right? So the thing is, it's not about spiritual bypass. It's not about bypassing the feelings and just saying, oh, everything is okay, life is rainbows and whatever. No, you have to be in the present moment, and you have to embrace whatever is. And then even still in the moment, you might not be able to see what the lessons are or what the goal is, but maybe a little bit after, you can reflect back and see the gold, see the lessons, which is what I was able to do with my mom and this situation and many situations, is to see, okay, where is the lesson? Where's the abundance? Where's the gold? Even if a person is saying, I don't have enough money right now, where is there, what do you have still? Maybe, it's about finding the abundance and knowing that in this moment, I have food on the table, or in this moment, it's really our minds go off too quickly into what if, what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know if that does answer the question. What do you think?
Well, it's just perception. There's so many things, right? We could go down, and I would be very curious if we can't have people call in with the podcast, but I'd love to know that.
I know
someone, here's my situation. It's not okay. Okay, so let's work through that. Let's support you. That would, I think, would be amazing, which, we could maybe open that up in our Facebook community.
Absolutely.
Mass off, and maybe, throw that out there to them. So if you're not in there, feel free to join. It's a mass off community. That was a shameless plug, which was not planned, by the way.
I know. That was organic. So
it was organic. But it was because I really would love to, because I do this with clients. You do this with clients.
Yeah.
People come with their challenge that things are not okay. I'm not okay. My kid's not okay, whatever it is. And we work through that.
Yep.
And that comes with having the tools to recognize and how to apply them. And I'll throw in that there's that, you brought it up, I'll just say it a little different, the non-duality, the neutrality. Like, what is okay? Because we're making an attachment and describing, well, this is okay. Okay, so this is horrible and it sucks in your mind.
Yeah.
But it just is. And it still can suck and you still can have all those feelings. And I think that I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think that's super, super important of don't bypass. That's why I am not a 100% life is great positivity person, because I think then we're bypassing
Yeah.
if all we want to do is focus on the positive. No, you need to feel what doesn't feel good. And then you can shift into the abundance. So if you're in lack, you need to sit there and feel the uck and then find the gold, like you said.
Yep.
And then the other piece was, you may not be okay, but like there's always something. And I always say, you're breathing, even if you're breathing on a ventilator, as horrible as it is.
Yeah.
The machine is breathing for you. And I can't even imagine. So that's like, I can't wrap my brain around that if that were me with the ventilator.
I know.
So, but just noticing and allowing for the space to be with the uck. And then everything is okay, because now I can make a conscious choice and co-create the next step. So I think that was the other big piece that I wanted. So it was the non-duality, the neutrality, the questioning, what is okay. Now, this is my situation. This is the isness. Now what?
Yeah.
I get to make a choice. So that's the co-creation piece. Like, you didn't choose to get corona.
Yeah.
You didn't choose to have a difficult, challenging experience with corona.
No.
But it is. That is the isness. So now what? So you've made conscious choices throughout your experience of, this is scary, this is awful. You're going to sit there, and then you're going to choose to listen to something that fills you up from within and quiets your nervous. You're going to choose, now's the time to go to the doctor, get some answers to ease my mind, to know that things are okay. And if they're not, then I know what I can do next.
Yes.
So it's not about being passive. Stuck. Yeah, it's super. And I think that gets lost a lot in spirituality and in teaching, that people can just think it's this passive Zen, everything is okay, I'm not going to attach, this isn't bad or good, it just is. And that is true. But then what?
Yeah. Right. Because there are so many moments when I was in fear. It's not like I just like cruised through the last 24 days of like, oh, okay, I have coronavirus. Right. Let me just be like, okay with it. It is what it is. And I'm just going to, float right through this and say, no, I was like, holy shit, I freaking have coronavirus and I'm really sick.
Yep.
And there were times when I was really scared, and it is what it is. And then I'd have to come back to, okay, I've realized how much the fear and being in the future was making it harder for me. I was suffering more.
Right.
And it's only because I have the wisdom and I have the understanding that my mind was doing that I was then able to reel my thoughts in and bring my mind back to the moment. And then, like you said, all right, now it is what it is. What action do I need to take?
Right.
And there are a lot of things. In the beginning, you helped me with so many great suggestions. I did the breathing exercises. I would use the inhaler when I needed to. I would take a walk outside to get the fresh air to fill up my lungs. I did all of these things. I took the vitamin D, the vitamin C, I did everything, to really, and then I had to let go, because I had to let it run its course. And then I had to get more information. So I did have all of that fear, and I watched it, and I had to reel it back in, because even I was just looking at this quote again from Shefali, and it says, reality just is. You create it into positive or negative.
Correct. Very true.
Right?
100%.
It just is. It was coronavirus. I had a case of it. So and I went back and forth. It wasn't either or. It wasn't like I was in total negative about it or total positive. It was until I found balance. Until I found the balance. Sometimes I was way over and like, okay, I'm handling it. And then other times I was a mess about it.
Right. And I think remembering too, when you made those choices, or someone else is in a situation and they're making, okay, so this is what it is. Now I'm going to make this choice. There is a difference in our choices too, right? There can be choices of conscious, neutral, healthy balanced choices. Like, I'm going to go for a walk. This is going to fill me up, versus I have to fix it, make it better. That nervous, anxious, worried energy of, you could have been like, well, I'm going to do this, and this, without recognizing if all those things that are out there align with what you need right now. Or are you just trying to find the answer? Make it so things will be better. Because that energy, those choices are co-creating lack.
Exactly. And that's what we really wanted to focus on in this episode, right? Because we started talking about at the beginning or before recording how it's so common for us to, when we are faced with such a challenge or we're in the muck, to be looking outside of ourselves for the answer, for the salvation. And we were talking about the example of the inauguration and how I even, watched it and I got caught up in it and was looking and felt so hopeful. Like, oh, okay, now, the world is going to instantly change. Corona's going to go away. Biden's going to fix it and blah, 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 blah. Looking outside of myself.
Yeah.
Right. And how many of us are wanting that right now, right? We're just searching. But we have been talking in the previous episodes that what the direction to go is inward.
Right.
It really is in. We have to learn how to dance in the rain and create the peace within, because there is no knight in shining armor. There is no person on the outside, some magical wizard that's going to just sprinkle, this magical dust on us and make everything okay.
Right.
Right. And I even shared with you the example with my daughter. We can even talk about expectations. When you have expectations of a particular outcome that you want to happen because you think that outcome is the answer or solution to whatever pain you're feeling on the inside.
Right.
So my daughter was just moved back on campus. She's in quarantine right now. All the students are, and her plan was to move in with a friend that she had met last semester. They were going to move together, and the friend had changed her mind. And my daughter, she handled it beautifully. She really did come a long way, and she's grown a lot. And that was what she walked away with after she had her process, though. She had her little meltdown. She was disappointed. And I acknowledge that, like, it is disappointing. I know you were looking forward to that. And she was wanting to go into, like you said, well, let me do this, and this, trying to fix it and make the outcome happen.
Right.
Like, oh, well, maybe I'll just move back home, or maybe I'll do, blah, 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 trying to fix the situation. And then she finally realized, okay, I need to let it go.
It's huge.
And let it unfold. And then I shared with you that and the thing is, because we never truly know, we can never know if there is some other, and I know now I'm putting a judgment on making it good or bad, and it's neither or.
It's the process.
It's the process, right? It's the process.
We're trying to make sense of it.
Make sense of it. Exactly. I'm trying to make, and you just never know if there's some other opportunity or other gold that's around the corner by staying in the as is.
Yes.
So by her not moving in with the roommate, there could be some other opportunity for her by staying where she is that she's not aware of, right? Because we don't know. We can't see around the corner.
Right. And I think it's important to remember too, with all of that, if we need a reminder of it, like we lose track and we forget, if not everyone, but that's where they're at on the journey. But for people who have been on the path of awakening or been curious or just starting, we look back on our life to today, I wouldn't change a thing.
Oh, that's a great example. Yeah.
Because we didn't know what we didn't know in the moment. I mean, I had things happen and I'm like, why is this happening to me? That whole trying to fix everything we've just talked about. But if that hadn't happened, I mean, I wouldn't have my daughters if certain things hadn't happened before, because my trajectory would have been different. I may have ended up going into the Peace Corps like I had always wanted to do. And I didn't because I was too afraid to do it. And I was supposed to get a job right away, blah, blah, blah. But then they wouldn't be here. The universe would have made it different. So very
Yeah.
few people actually, once they come to terms with where they are in the moment, don't want to change their past. So it's the
Right.
same in the future.
I know.
So that unfolding, that wisdom for her, who knows what magic's going to
I
show
know.
up for her because she's accepted and stepped into it with grace.
Do you think though that one has to be in a place of open awareness and to have that kind of thinking that you just described in order to see it that way? To be able to appreciate, because I'm
I
thinking
don't think so.
some could look back on their past and say, yeah, my past sucked.
Yeah,
Like, and not see the lessons or see the gold.
totally.
I think you have to be like you had mentioned early on about perspective. It's about perspective taking. It's about open awareness.
Yeah.
Some growth has to be there. You have to personal growth to be able to be in a position right now to be able to say and look back on your past and say, I wouldn't change it.
I think it depends on the person, because I've met people who, with everything you've just described, I know people who are still hang on to old stuff and can't get past it.
Exactly.
And then I have interacted with people who are completely, they say, at peace and accept it all, but they still are in resistance with their current life. So, so they're in acceptance of the journey to where they are today, but I feel a lot of that is more surface level, like, well, it's over and done with, I can't change it, so why stress about it, versus the bringing those lessons and tools into and moving forward, if that makes sense. So I think it's just like anything, there's their continuum. I never can say that word. Continuum.
A continuum.
There it is, of where they're at in the moment and accepting, because really it's about the present moment.
I know.
What happened in the past, they help shape us and guide us and make the present, but we still can't stay attached to the past.
I know. I mean, I can honestly say that look back on a lot of all of my life experiences for the most part, how they all shaped me.
Totally.
There's two things. They all shaped me to who I am today, gave me strength, the strength that I have today, the person that I am today.
Yep.
But I've always been a seeker as well. And I've always been on a path of personal growth and open and willing to see that. Had I not, I don't know that I could appreciate that all of my journey, how my journey got me to, or allowed my journey to help me to grow.
Yeah.
I think I could stay stuck in that.
Yeah. So I think that's, you
have to really be in a place.
And it doesn't mean you're there 100% of the time, right? Because
no.
we're humans having a human experience. Like you said, our brain wants to make sense. Our brain wants to label. And that is also part of the process of the isness and the moving in and acceptance of the present moment. And
when something's painful, I think it's normal and natural to say, why me? Why is this happening? Yeah. Go away, resist it. Totally. I don't, our brains are wired. So this is one of the rules of the mind that I've learned from Marissa. Our brain's job is to move us away from pain, right, and toward pleasure, right? So even back to the caveman days, when the caveman had to be constantly on alert for danger, so they're constantly moving away from the danger and toward safety. Our brains are just wired that way. Right. So now fast forward to modern time, we still have that part of our brain, right, that when something is difficult or painful, we want to move away from it. Right. And most of the time it comes in substances, numbing, denying, complaining, resisting the resistance. Right. And that's, we've talked about that so many times, what causes us to suffer, because we haven't learned the skill or the muscle of using pain as a portal to grow.
Totally. No one's modeled it for us. We don't even understand it until we do.
I know. And
even then we sometimes resistance. I mean, I personally, when I'm in that space at times, and it's not all the time, but there have been times where it's like, I'm just feeling the weight And I just give myself permission. Like, you know what? You just hold up and just blah, feel blah. I don't know how to describe it, but like basically go ahead and give yourself a pity party.
Yes.
Pity party for one though. It's a pity party for one, not I do my best not to project. I'm human. I still will say things. And when I'm in that, then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you need to go find your place and work through this on your own. So you don't put more damage out there.
But that's been a process too, right? To get to that place.
Totally. Yeah. So, have your little pity party for one, and then step into the isness and make that next conscious choice. What do you want to create for yourself moving forward, and take that action step?
Absolutely.
Ooh,
yeah.
So much.
That's it. It's because we don't want to, it's what we've been talking about, I think, through the whole entire episode is just how not to stay stuck in the muck.
Right.
Right. Isn't that what we're talking about? When you're in the muck, it's like we're saying, allow yourself to be in it, feel it. It's a part of life. Don't bypass it. Don't ignore it. You can't sidestep it. You have to go through it.
Totally.
And then how can you get yourself to move to the next step? Just like my daughter moved herself through that whole disappointment.
Yeah.
I moved myself through coronavirus. We all collectively are moving through the pandemic. How do you, so that you don't stay stuck in that muck?
Right.
Because many of us, including myself, was there staying stuck, and many can stay stuck for a lifetime.
Right.
For a whole lifetime.
Right. Because it comes back to, even though it's not pleasant, it's comfortable and familiar.
Yeah.
So there's another little mind piece, and which we can talk about more in another episode.
Yep. The mind does what is familiar.
Right. Even if it's not in our best interest.
I know. Absolutely. Yeah. So maybe we can talk about that in another episode. But this one was packed with a lot of tidbits in there, a lot of lessons, but so important because there's so much going on right now in the world. There's so much stuff, challenges.
Right.
And I'm going to start using that word, challenges and opportunities. Even just that little change of wording is more abundant, less lack. Because if I just say, I don't know, what's another word for a shitstorm is really pretty much
perfect.
Shitstorm, right? And we could just look at it like, oh my gosh, why me? Poor me.
Right.
From a victim's, right? We talked about victim mask early on in Masks Off, as opposed to, and this has been for me a huge learning curve, because I was the victim and wore the victim mask very well. I wore the victim mask very well, I will say. So this has been a very long journey for me to be able to just, even that little word of reframing from lack to abundance, and look at these life situations as challenges or opportunities for growth.
Totally. It changes everything. Mindset.
Mic drop.
Yeah, exactly. That's the episode.
That's the episode. I love it. Gosh. Yes.
And I love that you are feeling better. You didn't even really you didn't have like a coughing clearing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I know the cough is like much better.
Awesome.
The cough is much, much better. So I'm really on the mend and just getting there.
Yay.
Yeah. And I don't even feel like I need to take a nap. So that's
that is progress right there.
I know. So thank you everyone for listening. It was really good to be back and feeling better. So hopefully many of you can get something from this episode, even if it's one little tidbit.
And if you are stuck in the muck, join our Facebook group, and we would love to help support you through that. I mean, maybe we could even throw that out there in the group. Like if someone's stuck, let's pop on a call and work through it.
Yeah, that would be a great idea.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
That'd be
Okay.
fun.
That's good. Yes. Oh,
All right.
that's a good idea. Let's do that.
That would
Okay.
be- okay, so we're going to do that. All right, so join our group. And if you have a
Yes.
challenge, we'll help you through it. Masks Off Community on Facebook. All right.
Perfect.
See you in
All right,
there.
everyone. Have a good one, everyone.
Bye.